How's it going, guys? We're going to talk about the Chicago race review. I know the title is a little bit different. I'm going to start doing that with the race reviews instead of like, generic like this is race reviews at this track and blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to give like the main part of the race and the title. And yeah, so let's just continue on. Let's talk about it. So this is the first round of the playoffs, as you guys know. I want to call it Chase, but I'll call it playoffs for now. I still am like leaning on it. Like I feel like Chase just has a nice ring to it. Playoffs, doesn't, but I don't know. Stage 1. So the beginning of the race is basically dictated by Kyle Busch. He had a strong car. Everyone knew he would have a strong car. Him, Truex, they have the strongest cars. Harvick, Hamlin, and Chase Elliott running 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Kyle Larson never really showed up around the first stage. He was running in the top 10 most of the race. And first stage as well, but he didn't have the speed that many people expected him to have, so that was a little bit odd to see. Our first playoff contender that would get into trouble was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now he had a loose wheel, or he hit the wall. He was running in the back like around 20th, scraped the wall, think he had an issue with the car, tries coming down pit road and commits a tire or a commitment code violation. Can't go over the orange box with your tires. You have to get inside of the box, all 4 tires inside. So he gets a penalty for that. Was never really able to recover. So he was the first one to have real issues. Stage 1 was pretty calm. You go through green flag pit stops. Nothing really happening. So, everyone just runs their own little race. The stages were 80 laps, so you just split it in half. People would pit with around 40 to go. And Kyle Busch would go ahead and win stage 1. Your stage results are right up there. So the stages are much more important in the playoff races because those points are just so massive. In the regular season, you could sometimes sacrifice a stage, so you don't really need like the second stage points. In the playoffs, you need every point you can get. It's very, very important. So stage 1 results, see where your driver lines up, see where everyone else ended up. Let's go to stage 2. Before we leave stage 1, one last thing that happened in stage 1. During the green flag pit stops, Austin Dillon and Martin Truex Jr. both caught speeding on pit road. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But just in stage 1, you still have time to make it up. Martin Truex Jr., Austin Dillon, caught speeding on pit road. One is in an RCR car, one is in a JGR affiliated car. You could think of which one's going to make it back up. So stage 2 comes around, and this is where a little bit interesting stuff happens. So Kyle Busch gets passed on the restart. Kevin Harvick's doing pretty well, passes him on the restart, and, starts pulling away. We're all expecting Kyle Busch to kind of run him down, but he's not. He's losing a little bit of ground, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 seconds back. And then he comes down pit road, and he has a loose wheel. So he has a loose wheel, comes back out of pit road, but then there was a violation for a crew member going over the wall too soon. So a crew member has to be, they have to wait till the car is 1 pit stall away, or within 1 pit stall away. Then they could kind of like land their feet on the ground and, go around the car and all that stuff. Just jumped a little bit too early, so the pit crew causes the penalty basically, and this brings Kyle Busch 2 laps down because he had to pit for the loose wheel, then he had to pit again for the violation. So going down pit road twice, he goes 2 laps down. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kyle Busch's pit crew was changed. The first 26 races, he had his 18 pit crew, and then Joe Gibbs Racing, like they do a lot of times, and they get criticized for this sometimes because it's kind of like, why would you do this? I understand the whole organization is a team, but each team has like that, distinct feel to it. The 19 team of Daniel Suarez, their pit crew went over to the 18 team. So they basically just swap pit crews. So you have a new pit crew that hasn't been with the 18 crew chief and driver all year. And karma's a bitch. Like, there are a lot of people that don't like that, me included. If your pit crew takes you 26 races, those guys celebrate the victories too. They're part of the team just as much as the driver and the crew chief. You take them out, put them on the 19 team, it's just not cool. And, as a fan, I don't like it. Even as if I was a member of the organization, if I was a pit crew member, I wouldn't like it. There's a lot of things that people don't like about the way JGR is ran. That's one of them. It's just a feel thing, that's kind of cruel to take those pit crew members out and you say, hey, we need to switch them because maybe the 19 crew's better or whatever their reason for it was. But the pit crew cost them a most likely win today because that 18 car was insanely fast. So I would have picked him to win if that never happened, but karma. So Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott are running 1-2 in stage 2. Chase Elliott actually overtakes Kevin Harvick on pit road, and that was basically the amount of all that happened in stage 2. Kyle Busch, 2 laps down. Truex, he never went a lap down, so Truex was still just trying to fight his way back to the front. Had a couple of issues, but he was trying to get his way back to the front. Quick note on Chase Elliott, we gotta talk about him. For all of the haters on Chase Elliott, there are a lot of people that support Chase Elliott. I mean, he's a very well-liked guy. And, you know, I support him as well. He's my favorite driver. Let's not be, you know, hide anything. My guy, you know, Team 24. Clearly don't like him as much as Gordon, but, you know, he's my guy. And he gets criticized a lot. Now, I said before this playoff, you know, situation started, I said if there's a Hendrick car that's going to go through, it will be the 24 car. It's not going to be Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson does not have the speed. He's probably the best driver out of the group, but there is no speed in that 48 car. People forget Chase Elliott was leading the points, you know, 10 races into the season. He was very, very good at the beginning of the season, had a speed, and then the speed went away. If you have speed at the beginning of the season, you can find it back. And I kept telling people this 24 car, if the Hendrick cars were to gain speed somehow and become competitive, it's going to be from the 24. It won't be from the 48. And today proved it. Chase Elliott was downright spectacular. He did everything right. He executed. He wins the stage. He wins stage 2. And hopefully that proves a lot of critics wrong that, you know, it's not just him. Guys like Kurt Busch who have been running well lately. Austin Dillon was running well lately the last couple of races. Guys who are not favorites. You know, even Brad Keselowski, who's seated 4th, is not looked at as a favorite right now. These guys can do something. So just for all the Chase Elliott haters that still mad that he didn't want to race, just stop it. This kid's really freaking good. This guy, he's 1 year older than me. You know, I get criticized for calling him a kid sometimes. Well, he's really freaking good. You know, you just got, you know, he did a great job today. So let's go to stage 3. This is where Truex is starting to make his way back up, and he takes over the lead from Harvick and Elliott. And that was basically that. It was the real interesting part of the race was seeing if Kyle Busch could get back, and he never really could. There was one green flag run where the caution came out with, I think, 57 laps to go, where he had a chance to get back, but Truex caught the back of the pack again and caught Paul Menard and put him lap down, and Kyle Busch then lost the free pass spot, and then the caution came out like 4 laps later. So that was the real interesting part. It would have been nice to see if Kyle Busch got back on the lead lap. Could he have run down Truex and then maybe passed him? But once Truex got back in the lead, you know, there was nothing else to talk about for the rest of the race. Jamie McMurray had an issue, and he spun out, I think that was in stage 2. He just did a little bit of a spin. And I'll show you guys the race results. Truex wins the race. There was really nothing to talk about from 60 laps on. Everyone kind of ran their own position. You guys, you know, Chase Elliott had probably the 3rd fastest car. Truex probably the 2nd fastest, with Kyle Busch having the 1st fastest car. Race results are up at the top, as you could see. So those are your race results. And I'll put point standings up there as well, so you guys can see where the point standings are. So like I said, the stage racing is huge. Stage racing, getting points, let's say like if Chase Elliott doesn't get the 18 points he got from stage 1 and 2, you know, he could be somewhere in like 11th or 12th. So everyone who does stage race, if you have a fast car, you know, you're going to get rewarded for that, and that's how it's going to be for the rest of the playoffs. I don't think we're going to see as much unpredictability or you know, craziness as previous playoff seasons like 2014, 2015, 2016, where each round would reset. And it would be really unfair, but it would create a lot of excitement. I don't think you're going to see it like that, but it's more fair this way around. I really like it, and it rewards fast cars. So Truex wins the race. You know, credit to him, credit to JGR. Those cars are fast. People want me to talk about the Toyota dominance. Now, I'll mention one thing about it. It's not like Jeff and Jimmy in 2007. I keep hearing this whole thing about Chevys dominating and people weren't mad then. People, including me, I was furious with Jimmie Johnson, you know, dominating the 2006 to 2010 area. But he never dominated the seasons. That's what I'm trying to help you guys understand. So if people want me to talk about it, let's talk about it. 2007, Jeff and Jimmy won many, many races. They were the championship contenders. That was the last time we've seen a real dominant team. Though, you know, there's just 2 cars, but you kind of knew who would be the fastest cars. But even in 2007, there were weeks where Roush was the fastest car. There were weeks where Tony Stewart and Gibbs were the fastest car. This year is the first year that I can remember that one team, I'm talking about JGR, like Toyota, and one team, it's the first time I can remember where you can legitimately go into every race and say, that team will have the fastest car. You can't go into a race and say, Hendrick will have the fastest car today. You can't go into a race and say, Kevin Harvick will be the fastest car today. That doesn't happen. When was the last time a car other than a JGR car had the fastest car? I'm talking about speed. leading laps and dominating races. I can't remember. Someone's going to have to comment down below what that race was. It was somewhere earlier in the year, but I can't remember. When was the last time a JGR car wasn't dominant? The last 5 races, it's either Kyle Busch or Martin Truex Jr. And that is something we've never seen. You can go to a short track and Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are going to dominate. Or Denny Hamlin. And those are different teams. And then you could go to a mile and a half, and back in like 2008, 2009, or 2008, 2007, you could know Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards in the Roush cars are going to be very fast, and Greg Biffle, they're going to be very fast. Nowadays, there's no parity in the sport, and that's what makes people mad. I don't think people hate Toyota. If you're one of those people that are like, oh, Ford and Chevy are American, Toyota's not American, I guess, I can't help you with that. You really love your country, you want to see it that way. But I don't think that's the reason. It's just that there is no parity at the moment in terms of speed. Now, people want to say that Chevy's won more races this year than Toyota and stuff like that. It's what I'm trying to say is Toyota is just straight up dominating races. I'm talking about when you watch a race, they're straight up dominating races. You can't see a Hendrick car being faster than a Gibbs car. You can't see a Penske car being faster than a Gibbs car. You can't see a Ford car being faster than a Gibbs car, like a Haas car. You don't see it. You just see these Gibbs cars dominating, and the one time, a different driver wins a race is because that Toyota driver messed up. How many times has Truex lost a race this year because of a late race caution, or Kyle Larson taking it from on a restart? There's so many times. Kyle Busch should have won like 7 races earlier in the year before he got his first win, because he always had the fastest car, and then we'll get into some stupid crap. That's the point, is that Toyota always has the fastest car, and that's what people are getting upset with. And I agree with it. It has to be reeled back a little bit. This is the worst I've ever seen it since 2007. There are times where cars were dominant. Like I could say 2014, where Gordon, Logano, Harvick were very dominant. But again, that's 3 different teams. You have Gordon from Hendrick, you have Logano and Keselowski from Penske, and you have Harvick from Haas. That's 3 teams. That's 3 different manufacturers. Actually, no, that was 2 different manufacturers. You had Chevy and you had Dodge. Or were they still with Dodge at that point? I'm not sure. But point is, you had 2 different manufacturers. Now you just have one that is dominating, and the reason why it's worse is it's one team. So even if they race against each other, a lot of people want to see them get mad with each other or race each other hard. Gibbs doesn't really do it that way. They run like a really strict kind of organization. You saw by the whole Truex suspension thing with the crew members. So they won't really race like that. They race, credit to them as a team. They race well together and do stuff together to help each other out. But when they're all up there dominating, that's a little bit frustrating. It's creating that kind of stuff. Like today, Truex won by 7 seconds. The previous record was 3.2. Like the dominance is unreal, and it gets to a point where it's a little bit frustrating to watch. The same thing happened with Jimmy. So if those of you want to call me out for being a Hendrick guy, I hated Jimmy too. I did not like the dominance. But at least when Jimmy was winning 5 straight championships, he wasn't dominating every race. He just got hot at the right time and was able to do it that way. So that's my whole opinion on the Toyota thing, guys. If you wanted me to talk about it, there it is. I do think it needs to be changed. But credit to them. I mean, who's gonna stop it? They have a lot of speed. They're not failing inspections. One last thing I want to mention is the burnouts at the end of the races. That doesn't. I don't say stop burnouts. I would not recommend that, but I would put a limit on it to where you should not destroy the rear of your car. A lot of these burnouts nowadays are teams just destroying the rear of the car, and that goes for all teams, not just Gibbs. It goes for everyone who wins a race. They like to destroy the rear of the car. And that way they pass post-race inspection easier. That needs to stop. Especially when it comes to the playoffs, that has to stop, and hopefully it does. And I'm not trying to be like the fun police. You can still do burnouts and stuff, still celebrate, but don't destroy the rear of your car. There's a limit to the thing. You can stop, you can then do another burnout, you can stop again. You don't need to continuously burn the rear tires for 7, 8, 9 seconds to the point where the tires blow out. That doesn't need to happen. That needs to stop so we can get some fair races going on and make sure everyone passes, especially the winner. Make sure that car can pass post-race inspection, because now that Truex car can't. The rear of the car is absolutely destroyed. So like you can't really inspect it. Guys, that is my race review for today. Comment down below and let me know what you thought of the race. Point standings and race results are already in the video, so hopefully you guys saw those. And yeah, like if you want to leave your comment down below on the Toyota thing, everyone be respectful. I'm getting really sick and tired of fans being so rude to each other. Just give your opinion and, you know, have a debate down there, but enough with the name calling. I've seen a lot of name calling lately, and it's really getting on my nerves. So guys, please just, you know, debate. Just have a nice debate. What is your opinion on it? But like when it gets to topics like this, people like to get mad and stuff, and it's annoying me now. If you like the video, make sure to like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and next race is New Hampshire, I think. So let's see if JGR dominates that as well. Expecting the 78 and the 18 to be the fastest cars. So I'll see you guys later. Hope you have a fantastic day, and peace out.
Even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change. Even if I tried, my love, she keeps me warm.